Sometimes people ask me, how do you make the Vegan Life magazine podcast? And I say, well, it takes a lot of dedication, hard work, and sometimes, it just goes wrong. It's a bit like a raw food diet. Sheila Hanney is chef for Sea Shepherd. You try saying that fast. And is partner in Sinai, Egypt's first Bedouin vegan restaurant. And fun fact, Sheila can dive 50 meters deep in a single breath without a tank.
Without a tank.
Of oxygen. You got the gills that kills. How do you do that, Sheila?
You practice for a long time and you do it over and over and over again, and you gradually build up depth. So
I'm going to say right now, Sheila is on a boat. I don't know where, but presumably in the Antarctic, saving whales. Which means she may drift in and out a little bit. And that is completely fine by us.
Josie?
Are you there, Sheila?
I am. You disappeared, now I'm back.
Sheila will be right back. Josie Clemens is currently on Hell's Kitchen and is the first vegan on the show in 20 series. And Josie, I kind of want to ask you about that whole experience, but I also want to confirm with you, I saw on your Instagram post, Gordon Ramsay smells so good.
He smells.
I agree.
So
he smells amazing. I did a shoot with him about 20 years ago, and I was like, "What is it you smell of? You smell incredible." Sheila's giving us a syllable a minute. It's almost as if trying to connect to a boat in the middle. Sheila, where actually in the world are you on your boat?
I'm in Mexico. I'm just going to try upstairs and see. I'm down.
I've done some tough records in my time.
How's this one panning out to be?
But this might be the one. Yeah, this might be, yeah. Well, it's not as bad as the one that I failed to record. We are at least recording this, which is good. Sheila, we love you. We'll come back to you. Josie, Gordon Ramsay. Describe the smell of him.
I think it's Burberry, honestly.
You think it's what?
Burberry.
Burberry. Is that what it is?
I think it is. I am obsessed with that cologne, and I've never been around a man classy enough to actually smell it other than in magazine samples until I met him, and I was like, I think this is it.
Yeah. I have seen him frequently in airports, just at the magazine stand, just rubbing himself over the sample bit. So that's probably what he's doing.
That explains it.
But I mean, I was amazed. I saw your Instagram post and I was like, that's amazing, because notably, I'm on record somewhere as having said before, that man in all of show business, I've never met anyone who smells as good as Gordon Ramsay.
Thank you for backing me up, because some people think I'm psycho.
No, you're not. No. I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy.
Thank you.
I believe you.
Thank you.
But how is it? Is he, because he's not, it's all a bit, I mean, I'm not saying it's all an act, but there's a bit of an act there, isn't there?
He's the sweetest, and what they don't show is him spending one-on-one time with you to show you exactly how everything is done. And then when you mess up, of course, he's just absolutely enraged. He's like, excuse me, I'm Gordon Ramsay. I just showed you. You should be able to execute. And you didn't.
Right.
So then he's...
Has he ever tased you? Blink twice for yes, once for no.
Has he ever tased me?
Have you been tased? Yeah. Well, it's a bad connection. I can't say. I'm going to count that as one long blink. So, for legal reasons, we'll say no. We'll say you haven't been tased. Sheila, you're up on the poop deck now, by the looks of it. Hopefully, you've nearly finished.
She's literally
how's
on a
the connection
boat.
up there?
I thought you were making a joke.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding, Sheila. No, Sheila is literally on a boat somewhere in the world.
The poor woman. She's actually on a boat. That changes.
She's actually on a boat doing great things for humanity.
Bummer.
She's doing great things for huge manatees.
Are you a dad? It shows.
When else would you ever legitimately be able to make that joke? Come on. But I do take your point. Well said. Damn it. Right, let's jump into some questions before everything explodes. You can, of course, always send us your questions based on any aspect of a plant-based diet. It's podcast@veganlifemag.com, and we will field your question to the right person to answer it. And today, that's Josie. Just Josie. Joe says, I tried the raw vegan diet 3 years ago, and I couldn't get past day 3. I found it so difficult getting my 2,000 calories, and I felt so tired by the evening. What are good meals you eat that fuel you for the day and get your daily calories?
Oh, that's a good question.
First of all, Josie, do you follow a raw diet, or is it something you do?
I did. For the whole month of May, I was on a raw diet. I may or I may not have cheated a couple times, but it was pretty successful.
That's a bit like veganuary. May or may not. Yes, I'm a dad. Let's move on.
Yeah, a big struggle that I found was meeting calories. I will say that I think that there was a shift after the first week of just my body having to get used to not eating as many calories. I wasn't eating 2,000. I think I was eating 1,200. And it's not a whole lot, but I also was super busy and I wasn't planning this raw diet. I didn't do any research. I was eating so many bananas and avocados and sprouted garbanzo beans.
Okay.
Raw sprouted garbanzo beans. That really helped.
Yeah. I mean, and that one avocado is like the equivalent of eating 5 Big Macs, I believe. I mean, statistically, that might not be completely accurate, but pretty sure it is.
On a caloric level, I believe it. I mean, one avocado is almost 400 calories.
Yeah, there you go. 3 avocados and done. And I could do, I don't know, 11. No problem. 11
avocados?
Sure. Rind,
a day?
stone and all. Yeah, I just one after another.
Oats and smoothies. Doing like overnight oats.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if that's part of the raw diet, but that's what I was doing for sure. Sprouting
is a top tip though, and nutritionally so good for you. There you go, Joe. That's some good stuff for you to explore. I got to say, it's not that I'm skeptical about the raw diet, but I used to do this whole stand-up routine, right, where I'd say, people think it's like the world and then vegans, and that's not accurate. Like, there's actually like a spectrum of diets, right? It's just that vegans are kind of over the hump, right? So at one end, you've got your hardcore red-blooded carnivore, right? Not even an omnivore, but like the guy who goes on holiday to Africa and shoots a zebra in the throat and sucks the blood out, right? The hardcore. Then you've got your standard omnivore who sort of says, well, I don't eat very much red meat, and likes stuff in packets because they're squeamish. Then you've got a pescatarian, not a thing. Then you've got, sorry, pescatarians, but it's not. Then you've got vegetarians, and you should all know better. Then you've got vegans. But what you know is that's not the end of the spectrum. There's more going on down the line. And the next step is raw food. And of course, when I was a vegetarian, and I have been a pescatarian, not a thing, I remember saying about vegan food, like, oh, well, I'd love to do it, but I could never do that. I could never do that. And I'm still stuck in that attitude when it comes to raw food. And I know that another couple of years and I'm just going to be doing it probably. But it's hard to kind of overcome that prejudice. And I do have that attitude of, I couldn't possibly do it. But you've done it.
I've done it. And it was the best that I felt because I just woke up and I had so much energy. But also I think that's just from the stomach not digesting enough calories. It's not working as hard as it normally is.
It's your stomach telling you, get up and put something in me.
Exactly. I think that could very well be the case. I think that a healthy balance is raw until the evening time. And then, because your body has the most energy when you wake up. And it's funny because I think for breakfast, we like to treat our bodies like really softly, and so it's like, we like to eat like gentle foods, but that's actually when we should be feeding it like the craziest stuff to break down. And then by the evening having like the one hot cooked meal. I don't know. That's how I find the balance with raw.
Sure.
today because
Yeah.
I can't maintain a perfectly raw diet right now.
Okay. Well, that's good because that I think you've preempted some other questions there. Actually, in fact, I'm gonna go straight to Julie's question, which was, would it still give me the benefits to do this a few days a week, or does it have to be an all or nothing thing?
Oh, I think absolutely. It would still give you the benefits.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into some specifics now. Daniel asks, do you eat raw garlic and onion? How do you make this not completely overpower the flavor of your meal? It's a good question.
Can I tell you a secret?
Of course you can.
I don't actually eat onion or garlic.
Thanks for coming. Wait, really? You mean raw, or do you mean at all? Yeah.
At all.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. But like sometimes when you go to restaurants, it's unavoidable. So you have to eat it.
Yeah.
But
then
I'd really try not to. Then I get a little sick.
Oh. So it's not a taste thing. This is more about like you can't.
I love the taste.
Sure.
But I don't have to wear deodorant because I don't eat onion or garlic. If I eat onion or garlic, I either have to wear deodorant until there's a day where I can just not wear deodorant and let it come out of my pores, or I just don't wear deodorant and I stay at home for like 48 hours and I'm just like eating a lot of fruit again.
You'll forgive my skepticism. But if that applies holistically, then how come my armpits smell of smoked mackerel? Riddle me that.
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm guessing,
What are you
Daniel,
doing?
it's really just, it's a little's going to go an unbelievably long way, I would have thought. That's basically it, isn't it? If you still want garlic and onion, just you only need like 1 dice of onion per salad. Mira says, all I see is zucchini pasta every time I blink. No, although I don't mind it. Is there another raw pasta, that's me doing speech marks in speech, pasta dish I can do? Yes, I've got a spiralizer, and I did it once. And then Nigella she was like, oh, I use that to make curly French fries. I was like, oh right, that's the end of that. That's a health
better.
kick. Yeah.
That sounds better.
Do you do any of that kind of pasta? Do you do the courgettini and carotini and martini?
I've only ever done zucchini noodles, but what I really like are kelp noodles. So you don't have to just eat veggies. You just take the kelp noodles and you soak them, and then you can make like a creamy sauce. And I actually think that's one of the questions as well.
It is one of those questions. You're absolutely right. It was Dima asked, how can I get a creamy texture into my recipe? So tell us about these noodles with creamy sauce.
I love noodles with creamy sauce. I think that coconut milk really makes everything wonderful. And you also calorically dense.
Yes.
If you do the full fat coconut milk and you take the cream and it's like thick and you could you open like the can of the full fat coconut milk and then you scoop it off the cream off the top and you can eat it like a burger.
Yeah. How do you stand in terms of like if you're being hardcore raw? I'm guessing stuff like that in cans has been pasteurized.
Yeah, I'd say that I have some hardcore raw friends here in California, and
California is unavoidable. You must be tripping over them.
I actually 1 block away. I'm literally looking at a completely raw vegan restaurant. And it's 100% organic. It's beautiful. I get all my juices there. It's wonderful.
Amazing.
But their menu is so good.
Oh, so good. Sheila's calling. Hang on. Hello. I don't even know what. Hello. Hey, oh my God, that's good.
Oh, look how connected you are.
Oh, now. Sheila, first of all, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Can I
Okay, but you're buffering.
Paint your face purple if you can hear us. No. Sheila, there's no delicate way of putting this. It sounds catastrophic. I don't quite know why. I don't know what we do. But we will get you back another time, okay? This is not going to be the last podcast we'll record, and we will definitely do one with you. So, you were telling me about your creamy noodles.
Creamy noodles.
Are you okay with that? You know, there are some people I know, like the meat lobby is like, you can't say sausages, you can't say milk, and some vegans might say it's not a chocolate brownie if it's made out of soaked dates. A chocolate brownie has to have cocoa and brown sugar and flour.
Oh, I understand for language purposes to keep things straight and neat and organized and in a box, but I also don't understand that. It's like, if it feels like a brownie, can we just call it a brownie? Can we relax a little bit?
I'm increasingly brownie fluid.
Increasingly, I feel like that would be plottable on some sort of graph.
Oh yeah, you can plot my brownie journey. Definitely. my transition to raw brownies.
Raw brownies are amazing though. They just taste like raw brownie batter.
Okay, how do you do it? How would you do it?
So I soak dates, and I use medjool dates. I think that's incredibly important because they taste like caramel. Mm-hmm. And I soak hazelnuts, and then I blend them together. I do like 10 dates, maybe like a quarter cup or a half cup. I usually start with like a quarter cup of soaked hazelnuts and
then
increase it to a half cup. And then while I'm blending that, I add in about a quarter cup to a half cup of cacao, just 100% raw cacao, and I taste it along the way. And then I always have vanilla beans and sea salt and what's the last one? Oh, maple syrup. Maple syrup. I prefer maple syrup to blue agave when making brownies. I just think it has a little bit more depth of flavor, but that's it. And then I just roll it into little balls, or you just take the food processor, you unhook it, and then you just grab a spoon and you just go to town. And then you're constipated for 3 days,
It's fine.
It's totally fine. I'm so not mad about it.
Maple syrup, again, is another one of those ones, is it not? That, because it's quite concentrated. I guess maybe they could evaporate it. Is evaporating fair under raw rules?
I didn't think about this. See, I'm not so strict. I'm not so rigid. I'm just like, I guess that's where you just blue agave, because organic blue agave. Is that under raw regulation? What is it? 118 degrees.
I have no idea.
I'm just throwing out technical numbers to show that I.
That is the thing, isn't it, about raw food? Jason says, "I really want to try this. I really hope I haven't killed it actually, because I want to try that. I do want to try this." He says, but I love my comfort food too much. Well, I can sympathize with that too. And I would feel like I would never get a treat. What are good comfort meals that are raw? Now, you've just mentioned spooning brownie batter straight from the blender, which I totally respect.
Thank you.
Help Jason out. What other vice-laden raw food is there?
I think raw pizza. And you have to have a dehydrator for that one. But making like cashew cheese and then putting like, giant chunks of heirloom tomatoes and like slices of olives on like a thick either cauliflower or flatbread, it's raw.
Is this like the sort of where you like dry out chia seeds to make like a cracker kind of thing? Is that what you do?
I don't. I just buy it.
Cool.
But I don't. I used to have a dehydrator. I've been moving around a lot, so I got rid of all of my stuff recently. But it's something that I would do. And I also think that I think that sauces are so important to having the comfort foods.
Okay.
Because you could find some sort of vegetable or something that assimilates like the carbs that you're looking for, but then the sauces and having like a pesto sauce and like a red sauce and a cream sauce. Game changers.
That's a good point. That's very good. Pizza, there you go. I mean, a pizza followed by a chocolate brownie to me is like the ultimate meal. So, there you are. I'm guessing, are you allowed, I'm asking you this like you're this sort of moral arbiter of raw food, and I know you're not, and I'm sorry for putting you in the spot like that so much. Like, you can eat frozen stuff, right?
You mean like frozen fruits coming?
Like frozen bananas that you could blend to make that kind of soft serve ice creamy thing.
Oh, absolutely. Banana and ice cream. How did I forget that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the move. I think that's the move for the comfort food. Yeah.
That's the move. Yeah. Just don't do what one of our contributors in a previous episode, chop your banana into chunks, then freeze it. Don't put a whole banana frozen into your blender the way our previous contributor did with a cucumber and expect your blender to be able to chop it up, because it will just explode. Anyway, it's time for us to ask the question. And I feel like, it should really be, what do you do without tofu? But you do eat tofu. And this is where we kind of depart from our topic of the week. And you got a total free pass. And it's just my curiosity as to what do vegans do with tofu? Because I just love it. And I'm always curious to, how'd you do it? How'd you eat it? What'd you do?
It's so versatile. I think that I really like to take it out of the package and squeeze the liquid out and then put it in the freezer. And then once you take it out of the freezer and you defrost it and you it has a different texture to it, because all of the little water molecules pierces the protein, and then it creates like this fluffy, meaty texture.
So then what do you do with it? Do you marinate it? What do you do next?
I like to marinate it in different like vinegars and sauces. And I also like to, I think I don't have an air fryer, but I go to my friend's house. She's a vegan dietitian, and she has like all of the appliances. It's like a big playground going to her house, and she breads it, tofu, and then air fries it. And that
how does she bread it? Because there's a lot of conversations going on about how do you get stuff to stick to stuff when you haven't got egg.
Just milk, soy milk, oat milk. You just dunk it in milk, and you can season the milk too. Put your spices in there, some salt, dunk it, roll it, fry it.
Well, the question, what do you do with tofu, is one that I want to open out to you as well. Why don't you let me know what you do with your tofu? You can email podcast@veganlifemag.com. Charmaine says, I scramble it with nutritional yeast and turmeric. Okay, so far, so plain. I let it cool, then I mix it with mayo, and I put it in a sandwich with spinach. One of my fave sarnies. Oh, that sounds really good. Dolma Vegan Fragrances say, what don't we do? Scrambled tofu for scrambled eggs, marinated tofu and fried rice or grilled tofu slices for sandwiches. And then they observe, I think whoever makes emojis needs to make a little tofu block emoji. Yeah, we need that. My partner and I never liked tofu until we lived in Southeast Asia for 4 years, and, well, tofu there is amazing. But Cauldron Foods tofu's pretty up there too. We have at least 2 tubs a week. Yeah, we need to figure out what to do with all the tubs. What do we do with the tofu tubs? Any suggestions? Baby Blue Bee Bunnies says cream sauces, salt and chili tofu, and quiche. Oh yeah, I did that once. It was not bad. Vegan SUV Gypsy says tofu scramble, pho, cubed and air fried, cheesecake, vegan fried chicken, or just plain. Can I have all of those tonight? And the time is meow 2020 says, I make bologna. Whatever. Anyway, thank you so much for those. Keep them coming. podcast@veganlifemag.com. Well, thank you for that. And just while we were talking about kind of chocolate and chocolate bars and stuff, I do maintain my absolute favorite chocolate, the best chocolate I've ever tasted, is raw. There are a number of raw chocolate brands in the UK now. I don't know if you have in the States, Om bars.
Almond bars or Om bars?
O-M. Om, as in...
Om. Should we do a 3-count Om together?
Yeah, okay.
Is that how we should count out the podcast?
Yeah. I'll definitely remember that. That's a great callback. We'll totally do that. Don't casually say things like that because I'll make us do it. And then,
we will do it.
Okay.
I love doing the things. We'll do the things.
All right, we'll do the things. Bars are just, they've got like 3 ingredients. It's like raw cacao and I think coconut sugar and coconut milk. But it's just the creamiest, nicest, just smoothest. And it's not like it's a healthy take on it. And like it's got a depth and a sweetness and a creaminess that I cannot find in any other chocolate, in all honesty.
It's just the nostalgia, yeah.
Naomi says, I love Southeast Asian flavors and would love to have some recipes which include these flavors. Thank you.
Southeast Asian flavors, it's pretty much all I cook.
No
for the
way.
most part.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
way.
perfect.
Because
Okay.
I don't know how to not. I tried to make something Italian and it turns out Thai. It's like...
That's great, though. That suggests to me, are you quite a kind of instinctive cooker? Like, do you feel it rather than kind of plan it and,
Yeah. I'm not a planner unless if it's something that has to do with only health and I'm like helping people cure something, But as far as food goes, it's just like, let's go to the grocery store and just buy a bunch of random and put it together.
I mean, I'm guessing Southeast Asian flavors, you've got a lot of stuff that's very sympathetic with a raw diet. Like, I mean, fresh lime juice and I'm guessing some kind of sweetener and fresh chilies.
Cilantro,
and,
tomato, cucumber, fresh peppers, like you said. Yeah.
All of that. I mean, you can make a basic kind of dipping sauce out of basically that, can't you? And that
almond butter, blue agave, and you could even do, I guess soy sauce is not, but you could do liquid aminos.
Claire says, hi, I'm actually doing a raw vegan diet for a month. Oh, I do. How far in are you? And I'm a mum of 3. Is it safe for my children to come on this journey with me, as it would make mealtime so much easier?
I feel so unqualified to answer that question, but I also feel so qualified to answer that question at the same time. As long as your child is also eating semi-intuitively and getting to pick what raw foods they want to eat, they're going to be perfectly fine.
I'm guessing it is. I mean, with all of those things, whenever you sort of change your diet, you do have to do a bit of legwork and a little bit of research. And I'm guessing seeds, nuts, sprouted pulses, the ones that aren't toxic and will kill you. I'm not going to tell you which ones.
I just don't know what doctors say about children being on a raw diet. I've had so many friends who get pregnant and all of their doctors, they're having a hard time finding someone who says it's okay to be vegan and pregnant.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think you'll probably end up having the same syndrome as people had with vegan parenting, which is from doctor to doctor, it's going to vary. And some doctors are going to say, yes, that should be fine. And some will say, where'd you get your protein? And, all the standard vegan stuff. So, Claire, I'm going to say, hey, look, it's a month. And you're feeding them something. They're not going to starve for a month. But if you're doing it long term, then definitely seek better advice than a sort of jokey podcast available for free on all your favorite platforms. Final question. Ina says, I'm vegan, but not raw vegan. I don't think she typed it like that. I think raw veganism is much more difficult, or at least for me, because I love pasta and all kinds of beans. Ina, I'm coming round. So my question is, why do people decide to go raw vegan? I'm sorry if this sounds like a stupid or narrow-minded question. No, it doesn't. I think, this is a safe space to ask those questions for the raw curious. And you've kind of answered it, Josie. You said you never felt better in your life.
I think that a raw diet is wonderful. But I think that in order to get to the raw diet, allowing yourself to eat the comfort foods and I think make the mistakes along the way, I think is also viable until you're comfortable with eating a raw vegan diet and finding the raw vegan comfort foods that actually speak to you and let that inner fat girl find joy.
Yes, my inner fat girl is firmly an outer fat girl now, but I'm filled with joy.
You look lovely.
We've talked a lot actually in this podcast about what gives you that feeling of satiety. Like, what is it that makes you feel full and replete and has that kind of happy, full tum feeling? And a lot of the time it's been talking about oil. And so I'm guessing things like coconut milk those kind of lusciously fatty foods are what are going to give you that feeling of satiety. Is that a bowl of pasta ordinarily would, perhaps, Josie?
Like Brazil nut cheese too, making the cashew cheese.
Do you have a basic recipe for that? Is that just a soaking and blending thing?
Yeah, soaking and blending it with a little bit of, you can do like I've done before a cold pressed or just like a cold brew vegetable stock. You can pour a little bit of that in. And you can do like the little bits of onion and garlic like we discussed earlier if you choose.
One dice per meal.
One dice, yes. And nutritional yeast and some lemon juice. And that's it. And salt. And that's all to taste, and make it however you like it.
That's going to do it. I'm going to say cashews. I think a raw purist, you can't eat cashews because they're cooked for like 3 days or something, aren't they? Because they've got a really toxic outer skin and...
Yeah, I guess I'm starting to learn that a lot of nuts that say raw are not actually raw at all.
But I think that this is the whole thing. That, there are those people who follow a raw diet really, really assiduously and with great zealousness, and good for them. And that takes real commitment, I think. And if you decide to go for that, then brilliant. Should you eat more raw food generally? Yeah, I'm sure we all should. And less processed food and all the rest of it. But the takeout from this really is, yes, eat raw food. But if you don't exclusively eat raw food, you're not a terrible human being.
I wish I could say that I've gone to that level and I've done the extreme and I've done the hard work. But I can't say it. I can't say that because I haven't.
There, we're going to leave it. I'm going to say a brief thanks so much to Sheila Hanney, who made fleeting appearances from one of the Sea Shepherd ships, and you have to admire that. We salute you wherever it is that you are. Josie, in the meantime, where can everybody see you, particularly those of us in the UK who aren't going to get Hell's Kitchen just yet, I suspect?
On Instagram, I think is the best way. Vegan Chef Josie. That's
Vegan
me.
Chef Josie. Okay,
Yeah.
Brilliant. Go and check out her stuff. That's it for this episode. Don't forget, you can always email your plant-based questions to podcast@veganlifemag.com. Vegan Life magazine is available in shops and online, and there's even an app because, we had a lot of time on our hands. In the meantime, from me and Josie, thinking of pools of room temperature, slightly liquefied raw chocolates. Should we do it? 1, 2, 3. That was total product placement, and I want $50,000 from them.
This has been a Swanburst Media production.